Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Chapter 18, text 51 to 53. Buddhya Vishuddhya Yukto Dhrityatmanam Nimecha Shabdadin Vishyan Satyaktva Ragdvesho Vayuddhasya Cha विविक्त सेवी लघवाशी यत्वाक कायमानसः ध्यान योग परो नित्यम वैराग्यम समुपाश्रितः अहंकारं बलं दर्पं कामं क्रोधं परिग्रहं विमुच्य निर्ममा शांतो ब्रह्म भूयाय कल्पते.
Being purified by his intelligence and controlling the mind with determination, giving up the objects of sense gratification, being freed from attachment and hatred, one who lives in a secluded place, who eats little, who controls his body, mind, and power of speech, who is always in trance and who is detached, free from false ego, false strength, false pride, lust, anger, and acceptance of material things, free from false proprietorship and peaceful, such a person is certainly elevated to the position of self-realization.
Text 54. ब्रह्मभूतः प्रसन्नात्मा नाशोचति न काङ्क्षति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिं लभते पराम्.
One who is thus transcendentally situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed toward every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me.
Text 55. Bhaktya mam bijanati yavanya shechasmi tatvatah tato mam tatvato gyatva vishte tadannantaram.
One can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of me by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God.
Text 56. Sarvakarmani api sada kurvano madvyapashraya mat prasadad vapnoti shashvatam padam vayayam.
Though engaged in all kinds of activities, my pure devotee, under my protection, reaches the eternal and imperishable abode by my grace.
Text 57. Chet sarvakarmani mai sanyasya matparaha buddhiyogmupashritya machitah satatam bhava.
In all activities, just depend upon me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me.
Text 58. Machitah sarvadurgani matprasadat rishyasi athitva mahamkaran shoyashayasi vin shakshyasi.
If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost.
Text 59. Yad ahankaram ma shritya na yotasya iti manyase mithyesha vyavasya sayaste prakritistvam niyokshayati.
If you do not act according to my direction and do not fight, then you will be falsely directed. By your nature, you will have to be engaged in warfare.
Text 60. Savbhav jain kunteya nibdadaha saven karmana tum nechasi sayan moha karishyasyo vasho apitat.
Under illusion, you are now declining to act according to my direction, but compelled by the born of your own nature, you will act all the same, O son of Kunti.
Text 61. ईश्वर सर्वभूतानां हृदेशे अर्जुन तिष्ठति भ्रामयन्य सर्वभूतानि यन्त्रारूढानि मायया.
The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of material energy.
Text 62. तमेव शरणं गच्छ सर्वभावेन भारत तत्साक्षात् परां शान्ति स्थानं प्राप्य सेयसि शाश्वतम्.
O son of Bharata, surrender unto him utterly. By his grace, you will attain transcendental peace and the supreme and eternal abode.
Text 63. इति ते ज्ञानमाख्यातं गुह्याद् गुह्यतरं मया विमृशेयत दशेषेण यथेच्छसि तथा कुरु.
Thus I have explained to you knowledge still more confidential. Deliberate on this fully, and then do what you wish to do.
Text 64. सर्वगुह्यतमं भूय शृणु मे परमं वचः इष्टोऽसि मे दृढमिति ततो वक्ष्यामि ते हितम्.
Because you are my very dear friend, I'm speaking to you my supreme instruction, the most confidential knowledge of all. Hear this from me, for it is for your benefit.
Text 65. मन्मना भव मद्भक्तो मध्याजी मां नमस्कुरु मामे वेश्यसि सत्यं ते प्रतिजाने प्रियोऽसि मे.
Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this, because you are my very dear friend.
Text 66. सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वां सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः.
Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear.
Text 67. इदं ते नात्पस्काय न भक्ताय कदाचन न चाशुश्रूषवे वाच्यं न च मां यो भय सूयति.
This confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of me.
Text 68. या इदं परमं गुह्यं मद्भक्तेषु वभिधास्यति भक्तिं मयि परां कृत्वा मामे वेश्यत्य संशया.
For one who explains this supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he will come back to me.
Text 69. न च तस्मान् मनुष्येषु कश्चिन्मे प्रियकृत्मः भविता न चेमे तस्मादन्य प्रियतरो भुवि.
There is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear.
Text 70. अध्येष्यते च ये इमं धर्मयं संवादमवयो ज्ञानयज्ञेन तेनहामिष्टः सयामिति मे मतिः.
And I declare that he who studies this sacred conversation of ours worships me by his intelligence.
Text 71. श्रद्धावान् सूयश्च शृणुयादपि यो नरः सोऽपि मुक्तः शुम्भालोकान् प्राप्नुयात् पुण्यकर्मणाम्.
And one who listens with faith and without envy becomes free from sinful reactions and attains to the auspicious planets where the pious dwell.
Text 72. कचिदेत श्रुतं पार्थ त्वेकाग्रेण चेतसः कचिद् ज्ञान सम्मोहा प्रणश्यत सते धनञ्जया.
O son of Pratha, O conqueror of wealth, have you heard this with an attentive mind? And are your ignorance and illusions now dispelled?
X33 Arjuna Vacha Nashto Moho Smriti Lrabdha Tvat Prasadan Maya Chiyat Sthitosmi Gat Sandeha Karishe Vachnam Tav.
Arjuna said, My dear Krishna, O infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy. I am now firm and free from doubt, and am prepared to act according to your instructions.
X74 Sanjaya Uvacha Ityaham Vasudevasya Parthasya Cha Mahatmana Samvadmimam Shoshmadbhutam Roma Harshanam.
Sanjaya said, Thus have I heard the conversation of two great souls, Krishna and Arjuna, and so wonderful is that message that my hair is standing on end.
X75 Vyas Prasadat Ruchutvane Tad Guhe Mamaham Param Yogam Yogeshwarat Krishna Sakshat Kathiyat Swayam.
By the mercy of Vyas, I have heard these most confidential talks directly from the master of all mysticism, Krishna, who was speaking personally to Arjuna.
X76 Rajan Sansmrite Samvad Mimam Adbhutam Keshwarjunayo Punyam Rishyami Cha Muhur Muhur.
O King, as I repeatedly recall this wondrous and holy dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, I take pleasure, being thrilled at every moment.
X77 Tat Sansmritya Rupam Ityadbhutam Hare Vismyo Me Mahan Rajan Hishyami Cha Punha Punha.
O King, as I remember the wonderful form of Lord Krishna, I am struck with wonder more and more, and I rejoice again and again.
X78 Yatra Yogeshwaraha Krishno Yat Partho Dhanurdharha Tatra Shri Rivijyo Bhutir Dhuva Nitirmam Ti Marmam.
Wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will also certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. That is my opinion.
Om Tat Sat iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Supnishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoge Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Moksha Sanyasi Yogo Nama Ashdasho Adhyayaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Should I read thus end the Bhaktivedanta purpose to the 18th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of its conclusion, the perfection of renunciation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Anna Mataji. Thank you, Girish Prabhu,
Hare
for your
Krishna.
Sanskrit recitation. So, welcome, dear devotees, to today's session. If anyone is joining us for the first time today, a warm welcome to you to our chat session. My name is Vrindavan Chandra Das. I am one of the facilitators of our daily reading. So we continue with chapter 18, the perfection of renunciation. We are now coming towards the end, and it's very, very interesting, very exciting, very enlightening part of the Bhagavad Gita. So today we shall study text number 64. But before we do so, we shall recite the Mangala Charana prayers. You can also join in behind muted mics. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmalitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Dishatarine. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So yesterday we studied and discussed text number 63. And it was a very interesting text, where Lord Krishna, having explained the entire Bhagavad Gita, he tells Arjuna, now I have explained to you knowledge, still more confidential. Deliberate on this fully and then do what you wish to do. So one would anticipate, having made such a statement, the Lord would have paused and awaited Arjuna's decision on what he wanted to do. But we see something quite extraordinary happen in this verse. There is no pause, and the Lord continues to speak. And we should try to read this verse, the one we are discussing today, considering Lord Krishna's mood. He asks Arjuna to deliberate, but without even pausing for him to deliberate, the Lord speaks. And it brings out a very wonderful quality of the Lord. And that is one of the Lord's most wonderful qualities is his quality of compassion. And here we will see compassion and love. We will see demonstrated in this verse. Sarva guyatamam bhuyaha shrinu me paramam vachaha istosi me dridham iti tato vakshyami te itam. Word for word synonyms. Sarva guya tamam, the most confidential of all. Bhuyaha, again. Shrinu, just ye. Me, from me. Paramam, the supreme. Vachaha, instruction. Histasi, you are dear. Me, to me. Dridam, very. Iti, thus. Tata, therefore. Vakshyami, I am speaking. Te, for you. Itam, benefit. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Because you are my very dear friend, I am speaking to you my supreme instruction, the most confidential of all. Hear this from me, for it is for your benefit. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Lord had given Arjuna knowledge that is confidential, knowledge of Brahman, and still more confidential, knowledge of the Supersoul within everyone's heart. And now he is giving the most confidential part of knowledge. Just surrender onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. At the end of the 9th chapter, he has said, Man mana, just always think of me. The same instruction is repeated here to stress the essence of the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. This essence is not understood by a common man, but by one who is actually very dear to Krishna, a pure devotee of Krishna. This is the most important instruction in all Vedic literature. What Krishna is saying in this connection is the most essential part of knowledge. And it should be carried out not only by Arjuna, but by all living entities. So the verse again. Because you are my very dear friend, I am speaking to you my supreme instruction, the most confidential knowledge of all. Hear this from me, for it is for your benefit. So here we see that the Lord has not paused for Arjuna's response for him to decide. Immediately, without hesitation, Krishna wants to reveal the most confidential knowledge to Arjuna. We see the Lord is very, very eager. And there's a reason for that. Krishna has given so many instructions in the Bhagavad Gita, spoken about so many different methods. And all of these methods, they are weak in comparison with bhakti. They are weak. Actually, it is said, karma without bhakti cannot go far. Jnana without bhakti has a limited destination. Yoga without bhakti has limited. All of these processes are weak. Only by bhakti do they have any significance. So the Lord is very eager to impart the most confidential, the essential part of all knowledge. Why waste time? Why waste time? In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Vyasadeva gets chastised by his spiritual master, Narad Muni. When Narad Muni tells him, you've explained all of this knowledge, but you've forgotten the essence. So yeah, the Lord is very eager to tell Arjuna, this is the essence. I'm going to now speak to you the essence. And actually Krishna goes in 2 verses from here, Krishna almost goes to the point to say, forget everything else I've told you in the whole Bhagavad Gita. Just forget everything else I told you. You just focus on this, because this is the essence. We want to grab the essence. So actually this important verse was spoken by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 22. The Lord imparts instructions to Rupa and Sanatana Goswami. And in his conversation with Sanatana Goswami, Lord Krishna quotes this verse 64 and 65. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Krishna is so merciful that simply by aiming his instructions at Arjuna, He has given protection to the whole world. And then what instructions does Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quote? He quotes this text 64. He says, because you are my very dear friend, I am speaking to you my supreme instruction, the most confidential knowledge of all. Hear this from me, for it is for your benefit. And then 65, always think of me and become my devotee. Worship me and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. And then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes on to explain, although Krishna previously explained the proficiency of executing Vedic rituals, performing fruitive activity, as enjoined in the Vedas, practicing yoga, and cultivating jnana, these last instructions are most powerful and stand above all others. So dear devotees, if we are unable to grasp much of what the Lord has previously said in the Bhagavad Gita, but we are fortunate enough to grasp these verses from 64, 65, 66, 67, 60. We can grasp this. We've grasped, as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, the most important instructions because they are more powerful and they stand above all others. And then Mahaprabhu says, if the devotee has faith in the strength of this order, he worships Lord Krishna and gives up all activities. And what is the test? What is the evidence? They say the proof of the pudding is in the eating. What is the evidence of someone who has grasped these final few instructions of the Lord? The proof is that they take to devotional service wholeheartedly. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu makes this very, very important point in this section called Sri Sanatan Shiksha. Srila Prabhupada in the purport quotes the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, text number 34, where the Lord has said, Man mana bhava mat bhakta mam yaji, mad yaji mam namaskuru mam evashyasi yuktaivyam atmana mat parayanaha. Always engage your mind always in thinking of me. Become my devotee, offer obeisances to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. And then the next verse Prabhupada is talking about, Man mana bhava mat bhakto mat yaji mam namaskuru. So exactly same verse, lines. Mam evashyasi satyam te pratijane priyosi me. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada makes an interesting point. Srila Prabhupada says, this essence is not understood by a common man, but by one who is actually very dear to Krishna, a pure devotee of Krishna. So this instruction that the Lord is giving, it won't enter into the heart of everyone. And thus, they are unable to understand it. There was a nice conversation where Srila Prabhupada discusses this verse. His disciple Pushta Krishna Swami recites 1864. And then Prabhupada says, it is to be spoken to the most confidential person. You are my dear friend, I am talking. Other rascals will not understand it. It is especially for Arjuna, not for the common man. Pushta Krishna, I am speaking to you this most confidential part of knowledge. Hear this from me, for it is for your benefit. Reading the words of Lord Krishna. Srila Prabhupada, this is special friendship and special love. So I give you this. Keep it confidential. This is real. Other rascals will not value it. They will protest. Why should I surrender to Krishna? And this we see is a very common practice. When Srila Prabhupada was preaching the Bhagavad Gita, we would think that people would wholeheartedly accept what Srila Prabhupada was saying, because the words are so clear. The words of Lord Krishna are so clear. There's one incident in the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. Srila Prabhupada, in 1970, in December, he traveled to Indore in India. And in Indore, he was invited to a big festival called the Gita Jayanti Mahotsava, arranged by the Gita Bhavan. So Srila Prabhupada and his disciples went there. And there were many, many sadhus all over from India that came to speak on the Bhagavad Gita. And these organizers, wanting to keep the crowd, they kept Srila Prabhupada's speech for the end. Srila Prabhupada and his disciples. So each of the speakers would come and they would speak on Bhagavad Gita, but no one was ever advocating surrender to Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada, he was not at all pleased by this. So in the end, Prabhupada called his disciples. They had a big kirtan on the stage, and Prabhupada spoke for a very short while. And he spoke about surrender to Krishna as being the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. And the organizers was very happy because the crowd, they were simply enthralled by Srila Prabhupada's dancing white elephants. Prabhupada used to call his disciples his dancing white elephants. But Srila Prabhupada was not happy. So the next day, Srila Prabhupada complained. Srila Prabhupada complained at having to wait so long before he could speak. And when Prabhupada intimated that the speeches seriously deviated from the teachings of the Gita, the director of the Gita Bhavan replied, "We do not favor any particular way. Followers of the Sankara school and others also come to our institution. We do not subscribe wholly that Sri Krishna is the sole God or anything of the sort. There is a power behind him." This remark drew fire from Srila Prabhupada. What kind of glorification of the Gita was this if the speakers do not accept Krishna as he is explained in the Gita? So this, dear devotees, we often find people protest. They protest, and actually some of them have voiced their dissatisfaction with Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita. They say Krishna has advocated so many different paths in the Bhagavad Gita. This Bhaktivedanta Swami, he is only speaking about bhakti. And in every verse, he writes about Krishna. Even where there is no Krishna, he writes about Krishna. We do not like his translation of the Bhagavad Gita. People like this, they protest. That, Bhagavad Gita is just broadly, is more than just bhakti. But we can see how deviated such people are. Actually, even among the Hindus, if you go and explain that the essence of Bhagavad Gita is bhakti, the essence of Bhagavad Gita is Krishna, the essence of Bhagavad Gita is to surrender to Krishna and to worship Krishna. it doesn't sit very comfortably with them. I'm not sure if you all have that experience. I've had this experience many a time. So this knowledge, this essence, when we read it, it seems so clear. It is as clear as daylight what the essence of the Bhagavad Gita is. But many people, they will fail to understand. And Prabhupada said in one lecture in Gorakhpur in 1971, so they cannot understand Bhagavad Gita. They will put forward, why should we surrender? Krishna has said about jnana, about karma, about yoga. Why not these processes? But he does not know that it is the ultimate process. The jnana yoga may help one come to that point. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavam, Bhagavad Gita 70. After many, many births, but that is not the direct process. And I won't read this, I'll share the slides. But again, it is said the same thing. One should hear Bhagavad Gita, this most confidential aspect of the Bhagavad Gita. One should hear from a pure devotee that is coming in parampara. And Prabhupada quotes from this extract from the Bhagavatam about the conversation between Lord Brahma and Lord Narad and Sri Narad Muni. Where Brahma tells Narad Muni, whatever I have spoken to you about the Bhagavatam was explained to me by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And I am advising you to expand these topics nicely so that people may understand mysterious bhakti yoga by transcendental loving service of the Lord. It is to be noted here, the mystery of bhakti yoga was disclosed to Brahmaji by the Lord himself. So this knowledge is disclosed. Another interesting word in this verse is te itam. Itam means benefit. And Srila Prabhupada very nicely says that this devotional service, these instructions that Krishna is giving, it is not for his benefit. It is for our benefit. Actually, the Lord is known as Atmarama. Atmarama means self-satisfied, meaning that Krishna does not need something beyond himself to be completely satisfied. He is Atmarama. He is completely self-satisfied in himself. He does not need our service. He does not need our surrender. It is for our benefit that the Lord gives. Like sometimes people, they feel a bit edgy. They feel like, why is Krishna demanding that we surrender to him? They take it as an intrusion upon their own lives. Surrender? Why is this Krishna insisting that we surrender? And they get a bit uppity about it. They feel they shouldn't be imposed upon. But Krishna is not imposing. The surrender that Krishna is asking, it's for our benefit. It is not for the Lord's benefit. And the words paramam vachaha, the supreme instruction. So this is the supreme instruction. And anyone who is able to grasp this instruction and follow this instruction, then they attain the perfection of the human form of life. And that is what we want to do. And this is what the Lord also wants us to do, to surrender to Krishna. When Prabhupada went to this Gita Bhavan, the Gita Jayanti Mahotsava in Indore, Prabhupada said there was a stage, and in the center of the stage there was one lamp. There was not even one single picture of Lord Krishna. And Prabhupada says they have some political rally, they will put some picture of the politician. they have some katha, they will put a picture of some Swami. But yet they are speaking on Bhagavad Gita, but there is not even one picture of Lord Krishna. Prabhupada voiced his opposition. He said, just look at their consciousness. And how this man was saying that we do not subscribe wholly that Sri Krishna is the sole God or anything of the sort. There is a power behind him. What power is there behind Krishna? As we've read, Krishna says, he is the source of all spiritual and material manifestation. Everything emanates from him as pearls are strung on a thread. So this wonderful instructions of the Bhagavad Gita, they are accessible only to the rare persons who have faith in Krishna, who have faith in Krishna's devotees. For everyone else, they will be unable to accept it. So I'll stop here. I will see if anyone's got any questions or comments or reflections. Do you agree with what Srila Prabhupada is saying?
Totally.
Definitely.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Sandeep Prabhu.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhuji.
Please accept mine.
I will tell you something. I wanted to share something very interesting. So,
Please do.
very recently, about 2 months back, I started to read Bhagavad Gita through my father because he was diagnosed with some terminal condition. So, when we reached chapter 7, first thing he said, oh, Krishna is also Bhagwan, Shankar is also Bhagwan, Ganesh is also Bhagwan. So I pray to everybody, and all. So then I had, see, the opposition or the rejection can come from parents sometime.
Yes.
So I had to explain to him that Krishna is Bhagwan from the first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam in an authentic way. I'm not authority on this, but I read whatever I get advised, and he understood it perfectly well. And I had to explain him Devtas, Devis, and Bhagwan, and he was not knowing it. Even he's 80, and he's life in India, and no one ever explained this to him. Throughout his life, he had Gita in his library, but he didn't know about this. So it was quite a realization for me that as soon as I start to speak about Krishna, sometimes I'll have opposition, even from the loved ones, from the family. And then I have to explain them with the praman or the evidence of the scripture like Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita itself.
That's so true, Sandeep Prabhu. And so often we experience this in our community. The moment a devotee of Lord Krishna starts to speak from the Bhagavad Gita, and he starts to really impart knowledge that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the purpose and goal of life is to surrender to him, people start to consider those devotees to be fanatics. Imagine one speaks the truth, the absolute truth. People do not know the truth. They just do not know. If I used to knock on doors and distribute books. And so often I met people that when we said, please read this Bhagavad Gita, they said, no, I've read it. Then you ask them the simple question, what is the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita? And just see how they start to fumble. They start to fumble and they come up with all sorts of speculations. So this is the misfortune of the world. But Srila Prabhupada has now corrected that. Sri Chaitanya falling in the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we are very fortunate. Doesn't it, when you read this and Mataji's and Prabhu's and Mataji's, doesn't it seem so clear to you? Just It's just so clear. Krishna is saying, me, man mana, mad bhakta, madhyaji, me, my devotee, me, my. But people say, no, this Krishna is talking about someone else. This is what you call speculation. Speculation.
Exactly, Prabhuji. And also, they don't get bhakti. They understand karma, they understand jnana, they understand karma so much that if you travel to India, behind most of the trucks it is written karmi puja, is like work is worship. But
Yeah.
when try to explain them bhakti, devotional service, file not found. So it takes some time to explain them that jnana yoga and then karma yoga and then finally bhakti yoga and why it is far superior.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Sandeep Prabhu. That's really nice.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. There's a question here. Puja Mataji says, please explain about surrender and what it means. Puja Mataji, yes, we can explain that, but we are going to get to the key verse in the Bhagavad Gita, which is 1866. In that purport to 1866, Srila Prabhupada explains surrender so beautifully. But essentially, Masaji, surrender means surrender of the mind, surrender of the intelligence, and surrender of the self. Surrender of the mind means to accept everything favorable for the service of Krishna and to reject everything unfavorable. Because of the function of the mind is to accept and reject. Surrender of the intelligence means to accept Krishna as one's only maintainer and one's only protector. Because the function of the intelligence is to make plans for one's maintenance and protection. And surrender of the self means dedication of the self completely and full humility. And that's surrender of the ego. But we can spend an entire session just discussing what is surrender, but that's essentially what it means, Puja Mataji. Is that okay for now?
Yes, absolutely fine.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vrindavan.
Yes, Krishna Vani Mataji, yes, please go on.
Sandeep Prabhu's, I just want a little comment on it.
Yeah, sure.
That, as Prabhuji was saying that nobody has introduced bhakti. Because, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we come to know and, we're fortunate that we're able to take part in devotional service.
Yes.
But in India, we never get opportunity because only the Brahmanas do it, and especially only men. We ladies never have those type of opportunity. So, that's why, we do not get involved in it. But when we came to ISKCON, we all getting opportunity for the devotional service. So that is what, by doing devotional service, we can, increase our love for Lord. Yeah, like in the home, people have the deities and they serve that little devotional. There is mostly the Matajis and moms and elderly, dadis, they are doing it, but not the whole family or everybody take part in it. So this is,
Yes.
wanted to.
Yes, thank you for that realization and that connection, Krishna Vani Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Nitai Mata.
So wonderful as always. I wanted to say, Prabhu, it's not others, they don't want to, they just don't like this surrender.
Yes.
So, and because of that, they just wanted to say, oh, Krishna is not talking about me, it's something else. Because the moment they understand that Krishna is speaking, Ma may come, surrender to me, that Ma may come, they understand, that means next is surrender, they have to understand. So they cut it off there so that they won't get into that. They just close the door. They understand. It's not that they don't understand. That's what because when you speak, and especially to the Asian community on the book distribution, this is how they come. Everything is okay. The moment that comes, oh yeah, they go on. The way they just close it, you can really understand. They don't. It's not they don't understand. They understand very well, but they don't want to accept it.
Yeah, because Prabhupada said they don't want to give up their sense gratification.
Yes, that's right. And
Yeah.
so the moment you say "Mame come" means oh, other part has to come. It will connect. So before coming, they stop it. This is what my experience, bro.
And I think most of us have that similar experience in Thai Mata, because
Yeah.
like, sometimes we are so enthusiastic, we think the moment the people see this verse from Bhagavad Gita, they will become devotees. Isn't it? Sometimes we
Yes.
think like that. Of course, it's so clear. It's like they say it's a no-brainer. Huh? But still,
Yeah.
they can't do it. They can't do it, which is unfortunate. Prabhupada used to say, I am the only person that is preaching against everything that falls short of pure bhakti.
Yeah.
I am the only person. And he said, my Guru Maharaj, he used to preach like that. And he said, there should be no compromise. Sometimes people think that Prabhupada is being very harsh. But the reality is, just like Bhagavatam says, Yayatma suprasidati. The only thing that can satisfy the soul is pure devotion. And the devotee knows that anything that falls short of pure devotional service is unable to satisfy the soul. So the only way we can satisfy the soul is to give pure bhakti, pure devotion. So therefore the acharyas, anything that falls short of pure bhakti, they speak out very strongly against it, because they do not want anyone to be deviated. Yeah. So there are some comments coming through here. Emma Mataji, if people get to know Krishna through his katha and qualities, they will understand service. As Bilva Mangala Thakur says, I was situated as a monist in order to become one with the Lord. But somehow they are connected with this naughty boy and became his eternal servant, same as the Kumaras. Yes, Emma Mataji, that's wonderful. Srila Prabhupada said, you go and you pour in the year-olds the message of Urukrama. You go and pour it in the year-olds, because only when you get this message in the ear, will they become free from the contamination. So yes, Emma Mataji, Krishna Katha is the solution. Sorry, Prabhu, I muted you by mistake. Can you unmute yourself? Chandra Chaitanya Prabhu.
Thank you for a wonderful session. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhupada has made it so simple and easy to understand. I was just reflecting, in a London population of over 8 million, how many are actually practicing devotees? Now, the number is quite very, very small. So, in the mood of Prabhupada, he was finally situated in Vrindavan and could have gone back home right from there, but he chose to come out and share the compassion. So that is the key word. So everyone on this call and in subsequent days that we hear this katha every day, we should be sharing this. This is the real essence. Krishna is our friend.
Yeah. I'm hoping, Chandra Chaitanya Prabhu, after we finish our chat session, all 48 devotees on today's call will one day start their own chat session and give the pure message of Bhagavad Gita to others. That is my wish.
We would not be as good as you, Prabhuji.
Oh no, Prabhupada will, what can I do? I'm just repeating. Prabhupada will empower every one of you. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will empower every single devotee to preach this Krishna consciousness.
Come now and then to give us the boost, yes.
Yeah. So
What,
just think like that.
if
How
we
can I
get
do?
it wrong?
Huh?
What
No,
if we get it wrong?
don't worry. Krishna will empower you. He will empower you to get it right. Just have this faith and conviction that Krishna will. I want to become an instrument. There are so many people that do not know Bhagavad Gita. I will just repeat what I've heard from Srila Prabhupada, what I've heard from the Acharyas. That's all we have to do. That's all we have to do. Practically everything I said today is a repetition of what I've heard from Srila Prabhupada or his followers. There's nothing that I don't think I've said anything today that's from me. Everything is practically a repetition of what I've heard.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, the biggest concern would be is getting the audience to listen to you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
Because who would want to come and listen to me?
Who will want to come and listen to you? Jolly Mataji, you must have this faith that Krishna is within the heart of all living entities.
Yes.
There are many living entities are frustrated in this material world and they want to find the truth. You put yourself out there and Krishna will connect you with those souls.
Yes.
He will do that. You don't have to worry. He will make that
Absolutely.
connection. Yeah.
Thank
Hare
you.
Hare Bol Prabhu, I just wanted to say one thing.
Yes.
No doubt you could say, Prabhu, I am reading from Srila Prabhupada and followers, all that. But how about the hard work you put on, making the presentation, studying and presenting it so well? So are you just ignoring that part? So, and you just say, I am doing this. No, you're not doing only that.
Yeah, Mataji, I'll open up the book, just like everyone. I'll look here and I think to myself, what connection can I make? How can I speak? And it's by no deliberate effort that I make some connections. It's by the mercy of the Lord and the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and Guru. That's.
Yeah, I know, Prabhu, you don't want to say anything more because of your humbleness. You won't accept what I'm saying. So, but it's all whatever you're presenting, the way you present, your time, it's all comes. I don't know, I'm talking about myself. I'm lazy to do all this. So this is all about it. That's what I'm saying, Prabhu. So you can't say no, all about this.
Okay.
Your service comes on top of it. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Where there's a will, there's a way. I like your thinking, Santosh Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Rupa Mataji.
My humble obeisances to you.
Humble obeisances to you.
Yeah, I was just thinking that I have loads of neighborhood friends, and I had taught their children in Krishna Club about Krishna, and they praise me all the time that, because of you, our children got to know. So one day I wish I can, all the mothers as well, I can have Sangha in my house or, by Zoom or something. They also, get interested and I can teach them as well, because it's like, what can I say? Like teaching is in my blood, and this is the best subject that you can teach everybody. It's so good. It's so powerful. Actually, Prabhupada's books are so powerful. It makes your knowledge absolute clear, and there's nothing that, it's just like, yes, this is what the world should know. The world is knowing all sorts of things nowadays. This is the best knowledge that you can give to everybody.
Very true. So just start off with one person or two persons, Rupa Mataji, and it'll grow from there. Yeah.
Thank you. With your blessings, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All right, dear devotees, it's now 8:47. Thank you as always for your wonderful participation. We'll see each other again on Sunday next week or this week. I offer my obeisances to all of you. Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha, Krishna Patitanam Pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Ananta Koti Vaishnava
Vaishnavan
Ki
ki
Jai.
jai.
Prabhupada
Prabhupada
Ki
ki
Gaur
jai.
Premanande.
Manande Hari Hari Bo. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Wonderful.
Prabhu.
Thank you.